so you can start.
Why?
It's a very wonderful Friday afternoon on independent television and radio. I can say that because we are broadcasting live on television and live on radio simultaneously. The program is Hitches and Voices, and I'd like to say that this program, Hitches and Voices, for those who've been following us on radio, we've been on radio for a very long time, but this is our maiden edition on television. So for those who are joining us on television for the first time, I'd like to say welcome. For those who followed Hitches and Voices on radio for the past years, I'd like to say well done. And in case you're wondering what's Hitches and Voices, you're joining for the first time, Hitches and Voices is that program that gives a voice to persons with disability. And today on the program, we are going to introduce the organization that's behind this program, Hitches and Voices. What's the organization all about? Why did the organization decide to bring the program like this to members of the public? And to do that, we have a guest. But before I introduce my guest, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kingsley Okoje, and I have with me in the studio Barbara Obi. And our guest today is the Executive Director, NAPVID, Melody Omosa Esquire. But before we have him on the program, I'd like to say a very big thank you to the management of ITV Radio for making this possible. Thanks for being that partner that we've always craved for. Thanks for doing this for us as part of your social corporate responsibility. Management of ITV and Radio has been a long-time ally of NAPVID as an organization, and they've been very disability friendly. So we'd like to say a very big congratulations to ITV and to the disability community. Now you can put a face to the voices you hear on radio every Friday. You can now watch us on television and see what we do at NAPVID. Once more, welcome. Barrister Melody Omosa, welcome to Hitches and Voices, our maiden edition on television.
Thank you very much. Good. It's really a pleasure to be here this afternoon. And I want to join my voice to yours to say that it cannot be overemphasized the partnership that we have over the years enjoyed with the independent television and radio. And this is a big kudos to them. I see it as a win for society because two entities came together to collaborate just to ensure that persons with disabilities are made part of society. So thank you, independent television and radio, for your unwavering support over the years.
All right, so for our viewers and listeners out there, they would love to know, what is NAPVID all about? You know, what do we do at NAPVID? Why are we here? I guess that's the question on the minds of many people who are watching and listening at the moment.
All right, thank you very much. NAPVID, first of all, is an acronym for Network for the Advancement of People with Visible Disabilities. And that is the body that has taken head on the issue of ensuring that society is made inclusive of persons with disabilities. That persons with disabilities, as envisaged by both national laws and international treaties, are humans that must be recognized as free, independent entity and allowed to be part of society. So for instance, the vision of NAPVID is to have a society that is without discrimination, one that creates equal opportunities for persons with disabilities. And so for that to be achieved, we embark on rigorous advocacy and strive to protect the rights of persons with disabilities, ensuring that their interest is mainstreamed into governance and development. That's what NAPVID is all about, because we recognize that society presently, especially in developing world, where Nigeria happens to belong, is structured in a way that does torture to the dignity and humanity of persons with disabilities. And so, as an organization committed to ensuring the total emancipation and empowerment of persons with disabilities. We have taken advocacy as a tool to breaking down those systemic barriers that stand in the way of persons with disabilities to be part of society. And this is very far-reaching. Whether you want to talk about education, health, economy, in all aspects of human endeavor, people with disabilities are discriminated against. And NAPVID will stop at nothing to seeing that persons with disabilities have the liberty that the Constitution guarantees them and are made to be part of society.
All right, that's a very good one. But just to inform our viewers and our listeners that we also want to make this program as inclusive as it should be. Because we've been on radio for a long time and we realize that members of the deaf community cannot follow us on radio. So we decided to come on television where they can also be part of the information we are disseminating via this medium. And our interpreter for today is Madam Cynthia Aya. She's the interpreter interpreting as a sign language interpreter for our hearing impaired community. So, Barrister, I'd like to ask a question. Hitches and Voices, like I said, has been on radio for quite some time. Now we're on television. What necessitated NAPVID to say that, you know what, we want a program like this to inform and create awareness for members of the public, particularly as it affects persons with disability?
Very well. I haven't stated clearly what our motivation and our pursuits are to ensuring that there's a society that works for all. How best can that be done? Except when we have a medium like this to elevate the voice of persons with disability. That's why it said hitches and voices. We want to spot what the barriers are, and we embark on advocacy to ensure that those barriers are brought down. And the program Hitches and Voices came on stream just to do that. Awareness creation using the media is one veritable tool that we can use to achieve inclusive society, a society that is made inclusive of and accessible to persons with disabilities. Can't be done without the partnership of the media. And I dare say again that independent radio and television is doing the yeoman's job in this regard. They are actually at the vanguard of ensuring that with partnership, societies like NAPVID, civil societies like NAPVID achieve its goal. So that's when Hitches and Voices came on board, to create awareness, to amplify the voices of persons with disabilities, and to call on society to be part of this journey in ensuring that people with disabilities have their rightful place in society. And you know how we say it in Hitches and Voices: spot the hitch, be a voice.
All right, I'm sure Barbara would have 2 questions for you.
Yes, definitely, I do. So besides Hitches and Voices, could you tell us about other programs that NAPVID has embarked on or are currently still going on that are targeted to achieving this inclusive society that we dream of?
Well, our programs are very numerous. We have our thematic focus, starting for advocating for social justice, looking at economic empowerment, social protection, inclusive education, and inclusive governance for persons with disabilities. We have activities and programs that address each of these thematic areas. For education, on education, for instance, we are quite heavy on education, reasoning and convinced that education is a leveler between a person with disability and one without disability. We embark on scholarship and grants award to indigent persons with disabilities from primary to tertiary institution, just to be sure that no child with a disability will miss the opportunity of being educated as a result of lack of funds. So we've been very heavy on that. You know, apart from Hitches and Voices, we celebrate the annual International Day for Persons with Disabilities every December 3rd. And the last one we had was the 13th edition, having kick-started that program on the 3rd of December 2011. What we do there is that it's called the lecture, the series of lecture is called the Rights Above Charity Lecture, where we make the public, society, government policy makers know that what we should celebrate is the rights of persons with disabilities, defend those rights, rather than handouts and charities that only take people with disability and perhaps for a day. It really does not go far. But we know that if the rights of persons with disabilities are recognized and protected by society, by government, persons with disabilities will be made to be part of society. And we in turn contribute, like I will always say, to the baking of that proverbial national cake. We are actually interested in contributing, putting our hands on deck to ensure that that cake is baked, is made large enough to be shared, rather than be mere consumers of it. But what we ask for is the enabling environment for that to happen.
You stay on to independent television and radio. Like I said, this is our maiden edition on television. We've been doing this for quite some time on radio, and as I speak to you now, we are broadcasting simultaneously on television as well as on radio. We'll go on a short break now. I'll be back. The program is still Hitches and Voices. Welcome back. The program is still Hitches and Voices, brought to you on independent television and radio. This program is coming to you courtesy NAPVID. NAPVID is Network for the Advancement of People with Visible Disability. NAPVID is a non-governmental organization here in Nigeria that is advancing the rights of persons with disability. And on the program today, we have been trying to introduce NAPVID to you and also tell you what this program seeks to do, creating awareness for members of the public as it affects persons with disability. And with me in the studio, I have the privilege of speaking with the Executive Director, NAPVID, Barrister Melody Omosa, and my co-host has been Barbara Obi. Executive Director NAPVID, I would like to ask one very important question. Like I said, Hitches and Voices has been on for quite some time. Can you share the impact this program has had on members of the public as well as persons, the community of persons with disability? Just share a bit of testimony with us.
To start with, you know that for any day that Hitches and Voices does not go on air, any Friday, you know the feedback you get, first from the disability community, then for our ardent listeners, that people look forward to Hitches and Voices and would miss it for nothing. And to talk about impact, a number of persons have heard about Hitches and Voices over 10 years ago and taking advantage of the provision of the information provided by the program to move their life forward. We recall the case of Kindness Idahosa, who heard of Hitches and Voices in 2012 and reached out. And at the point where she was, she had, as a result of her ailment, has left schooling for about 13 years. It was a case that she took ill while she was in JSS 2 in the year 2000, and for 13 years was home until she heard about Hitches and Voices on radio. The ailment affected her spinal cord, so she couldn't go to school. And when she heard, she reached out. I'm glad to inform that that kindness Idahosa, after the intervention of NAPVID, she got back to school, finished her secondary school from where she left off, went to the University of Benin, and today she is through with her program in the Nigerian Law School, and she's qualified as a lawyer and a barrister. There's a Friday Igwe's case, who also heard of Hitches and Voices in 2012. We got him enrolled back to school. He lost his sight in 2008 and was home for 4 years until he heard about Hitches and Voices. He reached out to us. We got him rehabilitated. He finished from secondary school, went to Ambrose Ale University. Again, for about 4 years standing now, he's been a practicing lawyer. We have those who have heard of Hitches and Voices, and today they are accountants and working in other human endeavor, in other sphere of fields, doing what they can, contributing their bit. A number of persons who thought hope was completely lost, Hitches and Voices came to them. A number of persons have gotten job, hearing about Hitches and Voices, taking advantage of the programs that NAPVID carries out in partnership with government. A number of them have been employed, empowered, persons starting their businesses. So there's so much that Hitches and Voices have done for the individual persons with disability. But personally, what I celebrate is the ability to push advocacy to the point that we get the collaboration, the type we are having with ITV, for instance. We get government to buy in and have institutional reforms that accommodate persons with disability. So we're getting government, for instance, Hitches and Voices today is coming on the heels of the inauguration of the Edo State Commission for Persons with Disability. We've been very heavy on the disability, the need for a disability law in Edo State. And when that law eventually came on in 2022, we started the campaign for the inauguration of the board that will drive the implementation of that law. All of those were efforts of Hitches and Voices, and those advocacy efforts has paid off.
Barbara?
Okay, I would like to say that I'm quite impressed, because from what I understand from everything that's been said is that there's so much opportunity out there, but the problem is usually access to information. Like the story of Kindness and Friday Igwe, perhaps if they had come in contact or heard about Hitches and Voices earlier, they could have started their lives or gone to school much earlier. So I believe that Hitches and Voices is a very good program because it bridges the gap in information and gives people a sense of hope. So sometimes you find out that a lot of persons with disabilities do not know that there are certain possibilities for them in pursuing education or being employed, and that is what we are doing with this program.
All right, we don't have so much time but I would like to ask this last question, and very briefly, Executive Director NAPVID, Melody Omosa, what should members of the public, what should our audience look forward to on the program, Hitches and Voices?
We are getting bigger and definitely getting better. So for us, it's bigger and better. Let them be rest assured that Hitches and Voices is going to be sustained, it's going to be around for a very long time, and that all that they need to know concerning disability, what is happening presently in terms of the activities of NAPVID and what is going on in the international community as to advocacy and empowerment for persons with disabilities, all of that information they will get on this platform, Hitches and Voices.
Thank you very much. Like you said, it's getting bigger and it's getting better. It's been our maiden edition on the program today, Hitches and Voices, on independent television and radio. I'd like to say a very big thank you to you out there for finding out time to be part of this program today. Like you already know, Hitches and Voices comes to you every Friday on independent television. and radio. I'm so excited to say this because we are live on television and on radio at the same time. Please join us same time, same station. Don't forget, this program came to you courtesy of Network for the Advancement of People with Visible Disability, NAPVID. Till next week, my name is Kingsley Okoje alongside Barbara Obi. God bless you and bye for now.